Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so it's the day after the Lakers clinched the first round, got out of that, found ourselves in the second round, waiting for either Sacramento or the Golden State Warriors, of course, champs. You know, I'm very happy, man. The way that we took care of business in that game left me feeling like our roster is really capable of winning in big moments and taking care of business when it's time to close somebody out. It's the killer instinct that I was looking for. You know what I mean? And so I listened to Anthony Davis's statement. He said it's no fun when the rabbit got the gun. And I'm like, that's absolutely true, but I don't think of us as no damn rabbit. We ain't no rabbit, but I understand what he's referring to. People been calling us soft. And at the end of the day, we had been displaying that. You know what I mean? And when I look at how we played in game 5, it just reiterated the point that we wanted to win it at home and the whole spectacular thing. And let me tell you, I really liked how the crowd looked out there when they had those glow sticks. That was absolutely gorgeous. We need to hold on to that. Hold on to the glow stick and the playoff thing. It just lights up the crowd in such a way with the dim lights. I thought the ambiance was fantastic, LA. They really put on a show, the performance, the display. I just want to give Jeannie and everybody who put that together all the credit in the world. It was really pretty. And that's the word I wanted to use. Just looking at the crowd, it took me back to the old days when we used to watch Shaq and Kobe. It just had that vibe, man. It really felt like a game 6. And so that's one of the things that the Lakers provide. It's one of the reasons why I've been a fan for so long. It's not just the court, it's the players on the court and all of that. It's also the vibes that you get and the energy that you've had when you lived in LA. It takes you back to the Forum days when the Lakers were winning there. I had the pleasure of watching a couple of games at that building as well, and you just remember seeing Jack Nicholson, seeing all the celebrities coming out for big games or even in the regular season. We miss seeing those guys on the sidelines, but we know that time passes and guys get to a point where they don't want to come to the arena every night, and that makes all the sense in the world. But when the big game comes around, the playoffs, when it's time to close somebody out, we know who's going to show up. We know Jack's going to be there, and man, it was great to see him out there. So this was what it was about, man. It was Laker culture on full display last night, and we did it the right way. We won big on top of that, and one of the things I called for this team to do is just that. Give us a big win. Put this team in their place. Settle them down and send them out in a way that shows them that not only are we not to be disrespected, but that we're trying to get somewhere. We're not just, as I always say, happy to be here. We're a team that really knows what it takes to win. We got a core who's already proven that in the bubble. And we know that we're not getting rid of the asterisks that people put on our championship. They don't think we can do it when the plane rides cross country or when, the arena is 18,000 strong. You know what I mean? But we're going to go out there and prove that with an even better roster than we had when we won it. And that's exactly what I think this ultimately is. It's a better roster, man. When you look how D'Lo was able to string the three-point shots together that he did, Anthony Davis dominating on the defensive end, Vando contributing in areas that prove that throughout the course of these playoffs going forward that they cannot leave him open. They can't. He's not going to brick enough of those corner threes for you to be leaving him open like that. So I think that's something that can work in our favor. Rui Hachimura and how he ascended in these playoffs in this series in limited minutes. He was absolutely spectacular in the games where he played well. Looking at the fact that Dennis Schroeder didn't play very well, but did have some games where he contributed. But that's the fullness of what I'm saying is we had players in this series that did not play well at all. LeBron James had a tough series for the most part, and we still were able to get out of here in 6 against a team that had home court advantage, and a lot of people thought would beat us in this series. We sent them out in very demonstrative fashion and prove that we are a team that will respond to disrespect and that we have a pride about ourselves that maybe we don't show 24/7, but when it's time for us to, we will. And that's what I take from this team. That's the DNA that I'm seeing this team is trying to show. What I want from us is to just understand that less basketball is best basketball for the Lakers, because we have to conserve energy. I think we exerted a little too much unnecessary energy in that first round. Now, I am happy we walk out of there healthy with healthy bigs, because either way, against the teams that we're going to see, we're going to need them, straight up. With Draymond Green and Kevon Looney, Sabonis and Keita and Lynn and all of the guys that they got on either one of those squads, to have more healthier, fresher bigs is for the better. So after all, that is what we ultimately had, running some of them small ball lineups, and I think it will prove to be very good for us going forward. I'm encouraged by what I saw in garbage time by our other Lakers. The Stay Ready squad were ready and kept that lead strong and gave us those numbers that we needed. We kept our poise. I didn't see no fighting. I didn't see no bad energy shown toward their team, despite them not wanting to shake our hand and different stuff throughout the course of the series, talking and all kinds of different things that are well documented. And I just felt like, we had our ups and downs in this series. I was not pleased half of the series. Half the series I was very angry and very intent on telling you guys what I thought needed to change. But in the end, we made the adjustments necessary, and I think they were prepared for us not to, and because they were, we were able to knock them off. I referred to Coach Budenholzer, of whom I want to send condolences to his family. I understand he suffered a great tragedy before Game 4. So we want to send condolences to him, but I refer to him because we know that our Coach Ham comes from his tree, and I referred to Budenholzer as somebody who was in trouble a little bit with his job because of certain things that were going on, perceived to how the games was going. But nevertheless, my respect for Budenholzer is that in the previous years, when, particularly the championship year 2021, he was out there throwing monkey wrenches, so to speak, at the opposing coaches by lulling them to sleep with lineups that were unorthodox and that didn't really work. And then at the last minute, he would have one of his role players go for a phenomenal three-point shooting process, or you would have situations where he would do something that you didn't expect, like he would put Middleton in a position to control the ball and then have Giannis playing other aspects of the game. And it just would catch you off guard in such a way that would blow you out. When the closeout game came around, you had no idea what he was going to do, or if you were going to have advantages that he otherwise left open for you in other games. He would just completely close. And now that I look at the fullness of what this series was, he did that to them. You just couldn't see that in the moment throughout the course of these games because we were doing such inept stuff in the moment. It made us look like we were a bad team, but the reality is we were rocking them babies to sleep, just like Budenholzer does, And it's something that drives you crazy because you're gonna end up playing lesser basketball that way. But what it does is obviously put you in a position to use your strengths in key moments when the team is not expecting, instead of giving your strengths all to, pushing your strengths all to the front of the table at all times and then proceeding to watch teams learn how to deal with the very best you can provide them. It's a strategy thing, a very, very key style that will drive fans crazy in games 2 and 3, but will blow teams out in game 5 and 6, 7. So that's what I saw there. I saw the exact same thing. It just sucks to watch as a fan. And a lot of the stuff that we did, I thought we didn't have to do that way and could have still won those games, for which, again, less basketball is the most important thing for me. And when you got Giannis Antetokounmpo, you could toy around with your food that way. But when you got LeBron James, extra basketball, and Anthony Davis and D'Lo and the guys that we have, that may mean that those guys may not be down there for some of the games that you're hoping to close things out. And so that's what I would tell organizations and coaching staffs and everybody with this strategy. Where they want to play extra games or they want to do certain things in this way, that, again, it's dangerous, because players can go down, and that will ultimately throw a wrench in what you're doing. So these are the things that we want to, keep balance in regards to. I like the outcome. I love that we were able to beat them by 40. I think they thought certain things about us that just weren't going to manifest from how we were playing. So kudos to the coaching staff for making adjustments, and hopefully in the next series we'll have a nice game plan for them that doesn't expose so much of our weaknesses to the other team so often, which is something that will cost us games. We can be bad if we want to be going forward. I'll tell you right now, just like we looked great yesterday, this team, like I said, we have a style where we play with our food. Sometimes we do things the wrong way. I don't expect we're going to look like that every night, but we know what we're capable of at this point. We've seen us do this in a closeout game. So if for some reason we have another game somewhere down the road where we get blown out by 40, I expect this team to have the confidence to understand that if there's another game to play, we're going to have the ability to do this if we make the right adjustments. You know what I mean? So that's what gives you encouragement rather, in regards to picking the team and believing in them winning battles against teams that maybe might have a great player like Steph Curry or a bunch of depth like Sacramento. I like us against both of those teams right now based on what I just saw in this game and the fullness of how we strategized the whole series. You're going to need to be able to do some things differently and unorthodox, outside of the box thinking stuff to beat either one of those two coaches, Mike Brown or Steve Kerr. You're going to need to do things the right way, but you're also going to need to do things in ways that can catch them off guard. So I know we'll be able to do that. And so, I don't know how to assess mistakes. Were those mistakes, or were we deliberately trying to lose? I think we were deliberately trying to try things, and that led us to losing. And maybe that was strategy, maybe it was ineptitude, maybe the meeting helped, and I will never see that stuff again. I don't know. I really don't know. But I do know that we beat the Memphis Grizzlies in 6, and we beat them by 40, and that does not happen unless they're completely caught off guard by something that they thought was coming. It wasn't there. So that's what I can tell you for a fact. Anthony Davis' dominance on the defensive end, I'm spoiled at this point. I want to tell you guys the truth. I didn't give him the game ball, even though he was so very dominant in this game, because I had seen him play that way defensively throughout the course of the entire series. That was what he was doing every night. It just translated to us winning more because other people were playing better and because he was much more efficient as opposed to being inefficient. That defense that he did there, that was always what he was doing. He was blocking those same shots. He was contesting those same plays. And I just got to a point where I'm like, I'm used to that. I'm looking for him to give me big scoring. And in the 15 points that he gave me, I said, that's fantastic with the efficiency. I'm pleased with that. It was well done. So I wasn't even judging against his scoring. I was just looking at other things and looking at other people, just saying, you know what, I like D'Lo, so I'm going to give him what he deserves on this night because he hadn't been playing well. And to a point, you could say Anthony hadn't been playing well, but again, when you dominate the defensive end, that's not playing well. And so as I perceived it that way, I'm just saying I want him to give me more on the offensive end while being cognizant of the fact that he's destroying this team on the defensive end the whole entire time. Even when we had a bad game, game 5, he was the best player on the floor for both teams. You know what I mean? He was the one that had both defense and offense intact in game 5. So that's what gave me the encouragement that he was going to blow them out in game 6, despite not having any thought that we would ultimately win, because I thought they were going to play better for 1, and I thought we were going to run the same stuff for 2, just like Memphis thought. So kudos to Darvin Ham for making those adjustments once again, and making us feel a lot better about him going into the next series than we would have if he would have not have, basically. So, yeah, man, it feels good to be in the second round, especially when you know that we are getting rest. Our guys get to heal from little knick-knack injuries. I need Dennis Schroeder to play better, man. I keep circling around to him, but if he doesn't play well, it's very difficult for us to win unless everybody else is playing this well. The efficiency we had tonight was fantastic, but I don't expect that to continue every night. And one thing that I can say about this series is we did turn the ball over too much against the Memphis Grizzlies. Even in the 40-point win, we turned over the ball more than they did. So that's something that we can definitely look to shore up, especially unforced turnovers. Please work on that. Also, we had success in this series because we shot the free throw pretty well for the most part. We kept it above 75% in just about every game. Some of those games were in the 80s, maybe one game where we were in 90% on high volume free throws. I think that we get to the free throw line more than anybody else, and you would want to be a very good free throw shooting team because of it. So we won the games we won because we were good there, and we need to continue to do that and think of that as we move forward, especially against some very good free throw shooting teams like those two. I am deathly afraid of Malik Monk and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry and those three-point shooters on either side. I'm just going to tell you the truth. As a fan, I really, really, really want us to consider what drop coverage can do in terms of harming us if we overuse it. I don't know nothing about nothing, but I've watched us use drop coverage throughout the course of the season, and teams like those two have struck us down in some very, very astronomically bad ways. Think back on Portland, and there were several others as well, but particularly the Portland game that I missed because I was out and about doing some good things. outside of this apartment. So, when it really comes down to it, I want everybody to know that this team doesn't have the greatest perimeter defense worked into its equation most of the time. Our defense comes in other areas, but when we allow the three-point shot to be shot as much as we do, we need to be careful not to allow that to be what hurts us, especially on nights where we're not scoring the way that we did last night. So that's what I want to say. We need to switch up our defensive principles if necessary against premier three-point shooting teams. Because if we do what we did against Memphis, believe you me, they're not going to miss the same shots Memphis missed. They're not. I'm telling y'all right now, there ain't no Dylan Brooks on either one of those damn teams. Ain't no Tyus Jones, none of that. Some of them bricks, no Roddies, nobody's over there like that. So we need to be locked in defensively and understand that open shots can get us shot down. Some mistakes you can't make twice. And against those teams, leaving them open from behind the arc is a mistake you cannot make. Now, they do have players that you will probably see us leave open. Obviously, Draymond Green. Sabonis does have a nice set three-point shot. I wouldn't suggest us leave him alone too often just because he's not necessarily a free-flowing stroker. He can still hit a good percentage from behind the arc if you leave him alone. I promise you this. So, we need to be careful with that team. Obviously, Kevin Huerter, another shooter, if we see the Kings. I just really think the perimeter defense, if we are able to lock in on stopping these teams from behind the arc and force them to shooting the three only, they will not be able to beat us. Now, with the Sacramento King, that's not going to really happen. With Sabonis, he's going to get in the paint. He's going to do his damage there, and he's going to dish out more punishment than we want. But with Golden State, you obviously got to deal with Looney and Dre, Kuminga, but those bigs are a bit more manageable in my humble opinion than what Sacramento is able to throw at you with all the size that they have. So just looking forward, I want us to clog the paint as much as possible. Anthony Davis needs to stay healthy and strong, be ready for physical play, try to keep him off of Sabonis as much as possible with as physical as Sabonis is. And I don't want Anthony Davis getting into a shoving match with that dude. I don't think that's a good idea. Even if we have to put Braun on him more, which is something that we did in the last game with Tillman, I'm kind of against having Braun be worn down, but it's starting to be a second round. We're in the second round, so conserving energy, though we have great hopes, now it's about really giving it all we got and then letting other people give us a spell when we don't have energy, which is why shortening the bench to me is backwards thinking, especially when you have to center a lot of what you do around someone who's 38. You definitely want to keep enough Rui and Winion out there to keep you sturdy. And so that adjustment made yesterday, I think, could help us. But that all depends on what we're looking at down there, because you got to match up properly against the Warriors and their 5 wing lineups. So we're going to see some very interesting things that we can adjust to, especially with the personnel that we have. We're going to be able to defend them. But we can't look at the success we had in the regular season against Golden State and expect that to translate. It's just not the same thing. We got to almost forget that even happened, because that can be a false indicator that you're going to dominate this team. Now, you may very well, but you're going to have to prove that clean slate in the playoffs. And with the way that those two Splash brothers are healthy and what Jordan Poole is capable of doing to us, because we don't defend those dynamic players very well, with that particular matchup, we got to be, as I've said in the last video, very, very sharp. The Golden State Warriors are not who they were in the regular season if they're able to win this game 7, which I don't know. I really have no idea what's going to go on in that one. So no prediction whatsoever for that game, just watching at this point. Maybe I'll break it down later, maybe not. But, this is one of those situations where I'm so excited about the Lakers and the fact that we're in a position to rest a little bit, any bit of rest we can get. I would have loved to win this thing in Game 5 so we can do that. And I'll tell everybody else this, for all of the lovely things that the Lakers were able to do in a Game 6, we know how big a Game 6 is. If you're able to close your series out in Game 5, you get more home games potentially than what could go wrong if you force yourself into a Game 6 just for the beautiful night that could come with that. That's a dangerous game. You could ultimately end your chances of having more nights like that in this playoffs. So that's what I would tell people. Don't mortgage anything anymore. That's what we did with our future. It only works when you're taking back Anthony Davis. It doesn't necessarily work in other areas of life. So we gotta be careful not to mortgage winnable basketball games so that we can have great presentation nights. Uh, More presentation nights will come if we have more series, and they'll mean more later in rounds. So that's what I want to tell the Lakers, man. Jack will definitely come out for game 2 in the second round, but if we get knocked off in a game 7 in the first round because we forced a game 6, you feel me? You don't want to find yourself in that situation no more. So that's a gamble I hope that we appreciated, that we got away with and it benefited from, but that's not a strategy I think for the Lakers. No, not when championships and your timeline is this squeezed, so to speak, when everything is so condensed. You want to have more opportunities to play in later rounds. Nothing else matters. Believe me, nothing else matters. So that's what I want to tell the LA Lakers, man. Win these games early. Knock these teams off early. If you got a chance like that again, win that game 5. Do it for the possibility of those guys rolling an ankle in game 6, and then you'll be gone. Like, that could go wrong. So, we got a chance to win the championship, man. And I'm telling you right now, we win the championship this year, you're going to have a lot more nights like this next year in the regular season because of the cachet that comes from winning the chip. So keep your eyes on the ball, Lakers. Don't lose sight of what is possible here, because the roster really is that good, man. It really is. And if we can just get Coach to always consider the best ways to leave holes closed so that we can play less basketball in series sooner, we can give ourselves what we want in this situation. That's not always going to be in our control. These teams are very good. I'm not going to sit up here and disrespect nobody. We learn from Grizzlies. And so we're not going to do that. But what we will say is our roster is a youthful bunch around LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And I like that our chances against those teams right now. I like our chances. I didn't want to see Sacramento in the first round. Didn't necessarily mean I didn't want to see them in the second round after they've been banging around with Looney and Dre. Now I'm like, all right, they loosened them up a little bit. And as far as the Golden State Warriors, well, we just got to go against the champs and take them seriously, and study what we learned from them, but also ignore so much success that ultimately will not be found if we don't have absolute laser focus for 48 minutes a game for every game played. So that's where it goes from here. Super excited. I know Laker Nation is super happy. I loved ultimately the energy that I saw all over the internet in regards to our team and where we're at. For me, it's just eyes on the prize. You know what I mean? I'm a real Laker diehard Kobe mind kind of dude when it comes to this type of stuff. Job not finished at all. We are so far away from where we want to be, but we do celebrate these type of things. This is not minor. This is not something that you just say, we get out of here, it's cool, whatever. No. When a team like this gets this type of milestone where they were 2-10, had to make a trade, had to get better, rookie coach, young players, all these different things. When they do something like this, you do acknowledge it as something that is very good. You will not put a banner up for something this in this particular manner, but you do see the possibility of gaining motivation from properly respecting feats like this. As a Laker organization that has such glorious history, we also know that the journey matters, and sometimes you fall short of the journey. You don't want to look at it getting knocked off in the first round as a failure necessarily, because we are trying to build from years to years, and part of being here and enjoying yourself is knowing that you're on that journey. You know what I mean? So that's what the Lakers are about. This is the first step. We like it. We clinched the second round we are in. You know what I mean? I love the idea that this game is going to be played in Northern California for lesser travel for our guys. I understand it's going to be a pace thing if we see the Sacramento Kings, so we need to be aware that more youthful and fresher legs is probably going to be your best bet against a very deep Sacramento Kings that plays super fast and has a very, very clutch De'Aaron Fox that apparently isn't really hurting too much with that hand, but keep watching because that's not how that works. You're going to have to keep getting hit in that hand, so that's the problem. Same with Demonis. It's the exact same thing with Demonis with Thumb. So we're very aware of what's going on over there. Malik Monk snapped out of his Funk in Game 6. We got to see how he plays in Game 7 at home. The Beam is a heck of a motivator, man. I know the Golden State Warriors are a really, really, really solid team right now. They took care of their road woes in Game 5. But they did drop that game in Game 6. And that could have been more than just them being a little tired. And the fact they got to play this game, I think tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. No rest. Steph Curry. I don't know, man. I think it's a good chance the Sacramento Kings win that game at home off the strength of their own crowd. Steph and them guys are going to hit backbreakers, but I think Herter and Monk are too. Fox is too. So it's going to be a battle. I could totally see that game going into overtime, but I just think the older team does not benefit in this situation, especially without home court advantage. And when I look at the players that they got, Wiggins, he's fantastic. GP2, these champs are going to be ready. But they are going to be an extremely hostile environment. Sacramento is not San Francisco at all, and they let each other know that all the time. And so it's going to be a crazy crowd out there at Sac, and I'm looking very much forward to seeing which one of those teams are going to be strong enough to overcome one another so they can come see us, because that's what they're going to be having waiting for them on the other side of this thing, because we took care of our business. Memphis propelled us, and I told y'all in Game 2, or I think it was Game 1 or Game 2, probably at the end of Game 1 when he said it, that I thought Dillon Brooks won us the series when he said that crap. Because now you're going to wake LeBron James up in such a way that's not only going to fire him, but you're going to fire up the rest of the team too. And see, that's the thing that Dillon Brooks, I don't know if he was really counting on that necessarily. It's like, bro, guys like Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves, it's a few others too on this team, and I think specifically some of the young dudes, when you talk about LeBron James a certain way, they're going to take it personally. Because they look at it like he carries us in a lot of situations, but we're going to have to carry him nevertheless because we're the younger squad who can carry a great deal of the load. We know how talented we are. So when you say that he can't do something, you're essentially saying we can't do something. When you say he needs to give you 40, we know he doesn't score 40 on our roster like that. We don't even ask him to shoot that much a lot of the time. And when he does, it's phenomenal. And he attaches it to like 15 rebounds and 16 assists. So it's like, who are you trying to disrespect, dude? It's not like this dude has fallen off. He's coming back from injury. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really comes down to. His numbers are still amongst the top 10 in the league when he's right. So why would you think poking this particular bear is a good idea just because he's older? He's not a regular older. Aren't you paying attention? This dude is doing stuff that no other 38-year-old has ever done in any sport. He's still got something left for you, man. So it's just one of those situations where it's like, it's almost like he's kicking LeBron when he's down. It's like, he's dealing with the foot. So if he can't give you 40, you shouldn't be disrespecting him if he can't give you 40 today. You let that foot heal up, he'll give you 40 tomorrow. And so it's like, that type of thing is like, all right, bro. And then for him not to speak, for him not to keep that energy up, it just became a situation where it's like, wow, I didn't know you was that weak, bro. I didn't know that you had that in you. I didn't know that was what Memphis really stood on. And so it just became a situation where it's like, all right, they're deserving of getting beat bad. And we just got to do that. And I think LeBron James, in the midst of playing horribly, took that personally. And I think it propelled us to where we are right now. So I think Dillon Brooks, I think also, Desmond Bane, they were both very, very talkative. John Morant gave us a lot of stuff throughout the course of the season that we could work with. I remember when we were on the road at his house about a year and a half ago, and he said, you need to take the little purple and yellow, whatever them colors is, and send that back to LA. Well, we're going to take you in the powder blue and send you back to Memphis. That's what that is, bro. And the team was screaming, whoop that trick. It was just good energy because at the end of the day, they did the talking. It's not like we would have did all this if they would have been quiet. We would have just walked off the court, shook their hand, been happy about our circumstance, on to the rest. None of that stuff would have been necessary. But we had to get the last laugh because they was laughing first. And so for the way that we responded, you got to appreciate it. As a Laker fan, that's how we want to be represented by our squad. And I think they earned even more respect in the city for winning a game like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes, if in the end it goes left, sometimes people forget about games like this. You know what I mean? And for some reason we get blown out by 40 in the end of the season. And it's like, okay, well, the team ultimately didn't do it when it absolutely mattered most. So I would encourage them to be just as intent for 48 minutes every game. You'll never have that problem. But more so, just understand that in the moment, we really appreciate this, man. This is a hell of a thing that happened here. We're not going to forget it. And when we talk about LeBron James in a Laker uniform or great Lakers who've done great things in this uniform, it ain't going to be so many things said before we mention Dylan Brooks asking for 40 and ultimately LeBron James handing it to him in 2 different ways. That wasn't what he asked for. I just think that is some of the most legendary stuff, man. You know, just you think about legendary basketball things. You talk about like Chris Paul when his father was tragically murdered. He went out there and scored a point for every one of his grandfather's years. I thought that was like one of those legendary things you think about. Just various stuff that's happened over the years in that way that's reflected in the numbers in such a fantastic way. And this is one of those, man. This is absolutely one of those. In a league where I say, man, things could be manipulated, but even if this was manipulated, I like it. I like this part of the script. I think it really sits well, however it came about. But I just think that the Lakers showed how good of a team they are too. You know, on top of anything and everything, you don't get a lead like this unless you do things correctly. And boy, did we see some fantastic defensive performance of plays from just about everybody down there doing so. Vanderbilt, AD, Bron, everybody contributed in some small way to the defense, and I just want to give the team credit completely for that. And so, yeah, you don't hear me too happy too often, because usually what I'm talking about is negative stuff that I think can help us get better. But ultimately, I think I've been listened to, and I'm seeing the changes that I wanted to see in a lot of ways. Not only with the team and how they're playing right now, but just in the roster over the last couple of years. We're screaming into this camera to want to see this team do things so we can get ourselves in this position right here. Because at the end of the day, whether our core is 100% most of the time or not, if we can just get them to be healthy in the right times, we can be good champions, no matter how bad our team looks in the start of the season. If we can just get them enough pieces and have them healthy at the right time, we know we got a good chance, not just a solid chance, a good chance of winning the championship. So that's why those guys are still in this team. And for the path that got us here wasn't all that great, but we're happy to be here, and we're just praying for more of the same, more good health, more effort, and more big wins against teams that we know are ranked higher than us, which is yet another thing that we're going to have to be honest about. We don't have home court advantage in the next series either. Winning on the road early is a very important thing, and having laissez-faire, I guess you could say, energy. I don't even know if that's the right way of putting it, but having lackadaisical energy at the start of the series on the road will make it so that you are hey, you have to have so much pressure to win on the road later on, when maybe some of them home games that you play may not teeter in your direction. Maybe a team gets hot on your building and takes care of that. If you didn't take care of anything on the road early, you may be getting out of here. The odds of you winning the series go to waste. So as we play from behind as a 7th seed going forward, we know we're not going to have home court advantage probably in any of these series. We know this. So we got to understand that getting these early games on the road is a big part of our strategy. If you can get them both, God bless us, get them both. But make sure you walk out of there a winner. Don't fly back here without being a winner. If you come back 0-2, it's very tough to get out of that hole. And not every night you're going to play well in your building. That's just how it goes. We were lucky to play well, or blessed to play well, or happy we did, and all these good things. But what I'm saying is, if it doesn't travel, it's the playoffs, it ain't going to work out. Learn from your opponent. Memphis game didn't travel. They played well in their building. Front runners they were. But when it was time to see all that purple and gold, all them stars in our building, they couldn't handle it. They didn't have what it took to meet the moment. Maybe the refs helped, I don't know. But whatever it was, they couldn't overcome it. And that, my friends, is something that we need to understand that we can't mimic. Because what happened when they didn't show up on the road, when they weren't able to hit shots on the road, when their defense didn't play the same on the road, they got rolled over. So we need to understand that same thing can happen to any team. Even if they blow a team out, you can still see circumstances where they take their foot off the gas and get beat. So let's not. We know what we're able to do. We can compete. This team is more than capable of winning the championship. And I cannot stress this enough. And I'm not saying that because of any front-run reasons, or rather the fact that I'm a fan of none of that. No, I'm looking at a roster. I'm looking at a roster that is built to beat the teams that are left to face. It's only 1 or 2 teams that I really am concerned with, and they're not in the Western Conference. Not if we do what we're supposed to do. So that's what it is. I favor us to win the West if we take care of business. Just telling you right now. And it's not that I don't fear those other teams. I just feel like they have a lot more to fear when they look at us. That's the truth. So that's just what we need to understand. If we have more games like Game 5 where we can't get nothing out of our bench because we rotated improperly, we can always lose to anybody. Make no mistake about it. We can beat anybody too. So that's what I expect us to do. Go out there and beat anybody in front of us and try to take care of these series early. Let's be dominant. Let's be dominant. When you can play defense the way we did and drop 125 points when your focus is defense, you know how dominant you're capable of being against pretty much anybody. You just got to get a feel for them, learn what their tendencies are, and stop what it is they're good at, and strategize properly against them, and let the talent on our roster do the rest, because it will. We have that luxury. We have that build. So that's what I got to say, man. Welcome to the second round, everybody. God, it feels good to be a Laker fan at times like this, man. Especially when life is not going so well in personal life, when your team is kicking butt and making you sound like an idiot for not picking them, right? I'll be honest, but when you love those feelings, you want to be wrong when you pick against the team. You want to motivate them to be mad at their fan for not picking them. And know that I did it not because I wanted to motivate them, because it's exactly what I saw. And so they showed me something different. Now I see something different, and that's what I react to. I want my team to be motivated by my negativity, but I will never throw negativity out there that I don't see. I'll tell y'all the truth, because I want that credibility. If I see a team that I think is soft, I'm going to tell you, yeah, we being soft. And I tell you, we came out there and we're dominant, we were dominant. But what I want to see is us go out there and kick butt, regardless of who's out there. Don't respect anybody too much. If it's Steph Curry, don't respect him too much. If it's De'Aaron Fox, down the stretch fourth quarter, don't respect him too much. We got clutch players. We got LeBron James. Nobody out-caches him. Nobody you're going to see out-caches LeBron James. He is the biggest star on the floor at all times. So nobody gets too much respect. No, that's it. That's all it is to it. I think we gave the Memphis Grizzlies a lot of respect. I think, not too much. But going forward, we got to keep that up. We ain't going to disgrace ourselves by being disrespectful, but we are not going to be out here cowering to the idea that maybe we just can't beat somebody because we're down by 15 or something like that. We can beat you. We can come back. We got the personnel to do it. So that's what it is, man. Let's not dig those holes in the first place, because we can stop that kind of stuff most times too. Teams may get out to a hot start, but they will have to deal with the stuff that we can throw at them. They should be able to defend them and slow them down and make things very difficult for them. So, yes, that's what it is, man. We're taking care of business. I'm thinking about Davion Mitchell of Sacramento Kings and how much of a nightmare he's going to be guarding one of our guards. So we got to be very mindful. D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, all you guys, you're going to have a defender on you one way or another. One way or another. GP2, you know what I'm saying? Wiggins. Be ready for more defense on top of what it is we've already seen. Jaren Jackson ain't down there, but Draymond Green will be. And that kind of thing. So if it's Sacramento, I think that's a bit softer for Anthony Davis, but when you think about Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, and those wings, they're going to make life harder on everybody else. They're going to make life harder on everybody else, and we only got one Vando. So we're going to have to get defense out of players, and we're going to need to be able to use guys that maybe coach doesn't want to use, trying to make things happen. So I don't want us to be closed-minded about that. Just like we made adjustments in Game 6 that blew them out, we need to be willing to make adjustments in every game necessary. Let's do the homework. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. Very exciting times, man. I cannot stress it enough. I am happy, even though it looks like I'm not. I am extremely pleased with the Los Angeles Lakers getting this far with the confidence that they can go much further. So that's what I got to say. That is it. Congratulations, LA Laker fans. We are in the second round, baby. Let's go towards the chip. Video 44. Thank you all for watching.